We are still in the series Encountering Jesus. And it has been a great series, and we've actually got many more to come in this series. And today I want to talk about encountering Jesus in the desert. Now, in August, we were meant to be in the outback, but sickness got in the way, and I stayed in bed in Barara. But I love the outback. And I crave that red dirt and the big open skies, the big open space, the quiet. The desert actually and the outback is not a vastness of nothing, as some of you may think. Even this picture here, you can check out the rocky ground, the red sandy ground. There's a multitude of colours. There's interesting rocks. There's tussles of plants. There's flowers. There's shrubs. There's actually an abundance of bird life. There's riverbeds. They can be often dry, and at the moment they're mostly full. But the pace of life is slow. Although it wasn't, this is the Pilbara, this is a cattle station. That's not slow. That's months of 7 days a week of work. But in general, the pace is slow in the outback. Life is determined by the weather. Roads close, and you have to wait. Rivers flood, you've got to wait. Distances to civilization is far. If you want something, you have to wait. People out there, they even talk slower. And I love it. The distractions are gone. In some places, you know, even your mobile phone doesn't work. That's why Daniel doesn't like coming with us. Well, not just Daniel, all of the kids. Life is slower, and you need to be in tune with the weather and the surrounds and the land. You need to look after basic needs like, do I have enough water? Do I have enough food, shelter, warmth? But this simplifying gives me an incredible closeness with the Creator. Matthew 3 tells us about the beginning of Jesus' public life. And it starts with his baptism and this incredible moment where we hear this literal voice from heaven that says, "This is my Son whom I love. With him I am well pleased." It's amazing. It's such a spiritual high. And then straight after that, the next line is, "Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into the desert to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him." Such a contrast to what had just happened. And there's the Greek word here that translates as desert is eremus. And there is a wide array of meanings there to that word. And this story, it's not actually the only place that this word is used. Jesus seems to visit this place often. And there's many verses and many more than just these ones up here where he visits this place. So maybe it's not the negative place that we've thought it to be. You know, I've often visualized that story when he goes out into the desert where Satan comes to tempt him as he's sitting there leaning against this puny tree. Maybe it's just a dead stump and totally parched and can hardly stand up with a dry mouth in utter weakness. And then he has Satan come to tempt him to be powerful, to tempt him to take control and rule for his own gain. This is quite a significant event in the life of Jesus. This is an extremely significant event in the story of God. It could have gone horribly wrong. These are powerful temptations to seek power and control and prestige. Perhaps the place of the desert is not how we thought it is. He probably was physically weak, he hadn't eaten, but he was probably also at his most strongest spiritually. The distractions are gone. He's just spent all this time, just him and his Heavenly Father. And the temptations arise, and he stands strong against them. You know, a month of prayer and fasting, a month of quiet, gives him this place of strength. And Jesus could take on the devil and his temptations and walk away unscathed, unharmed, and strong in who he is, in his calling, and his relationship with his Heavenly Father. You know, as Christians, that's what we want. We want to be strong in who we are, our calling in life, and our relationship with the Creator God, our Heavenly Father. Now, as I said before, I've had glandular fever, and doctors couldn't stress enough the importance of rest. Now, I've learned over the years the importance of rest and the value of it. When there has been extra pressure, I have learnt that take half a day, take a day and rest, like literally sometimes just in bed, because I am confident of the outcome. It works for me. And the next day, I know I can work hard again and achieve and produce. Now, there is value in this. And we can achieve more when we balance our lives well, which surprisingly can be quite a higher percentage of rest for optimal production. And now I do have a podcast on this that I'm going to put in the newsletter if you want to listen to it. But sometimes I think we've missed the point a little. Rest is crucial for the recovery of glandular fever because the cells in my body need to restore. And that requires energy to go into them and not other things. But to rest, to produce, to be able to work hard and get everything you need to get done is not what life's all about. It misses a crucial component. Plus, I think most of us rest pretty poorly. We binge Netflix or YouTube or scroll social media, fill it with loads and loads of social events and outings, whatever it is. What if you took time every day to rest and notice God? What if we took a bigger chunk of time once a week, perhaps a whole day? What happens when all the noise stops? What happens when we turn off our devices? How about we learn to breathe deeply, slowly, and learn to slow down the crazy talk in our own heads? You know, it's scary sometimes to turn off the noise because what we're left with is our own thoughts. And I think sometimes that is why people don't stop. And they choose to rest with distractions. How do we slow them down? How do we stop all the worry that's going on in our minds and our minds racing around with all sorts of different things? Sometimes there are things we actually need to do. Perhaps jot down what that is and make a plan and do it. And move on and find peace. So I don't know about you, but I want more peace in my life, more joy, more love and patience and gratitude. And I have found throughout my years that I only truly find that when I connect with the life force of this world, the God who created it, the sustainer of life, Jesus, the Spirit of God who dwells in us. So we rest. We go to the quiet place, the desert, firstly to stop. And then we receive. We go to the quiet place for our minds, our emotions, our souls to restore. And it gives us strength. Then we can respond to hopefully do life a little more Jesus-like. Who, have you noticed, didn't rush about? Jesus was never in a hurry. Dallas Willard, he's a great Christian philosopher. He was asked by a man who desperately wanted to be more like Jesus. He said, "What do I need to do to be the man I want to be?" And Dallas, after a long pause of silence, which he's known to do, said, "You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life." Thinking on that, the man asked, "What else?" And Willard said, "There is nothing else. Hurry is the great enemy of spiritual life in our day. You must ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life." You know, I feel like when we're in a hurry and we're desperately trying to keep everything under control, we're desperately trying to keep everything under our control. You know, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're organising this and that, we need to buy this or that, make quick decisions, all with us at centre stage. I'm busy. I need this now. I'll fix this. I'll fix that problem. I'll get this or that done. There's no space to stop and really know God. You know, I was thinking about that story of Jesus sleeping on the boat in the storm. You know, there's a storm raging and he's asleep in the boat while the disciples are going crazy. How on earth was he sleeping? We know what it's like when we've got storms around in our life. You know, when we've got troubles with relationships or at work, or we've got assignments or sermons to write, or people are disgruntled around us. Whatever's going on, it's like a storm in your life and your thoughts churn and they churn. And they often churn while we're trying to go to sleep. And our sleep is disturbed. Now, I could spiritualize it and say, well, I'm praying through the night. Some of it is prayers, but a lot of it is worry. It's my mind trying desperately to solve the problem and to take control of the matter. So why could Jesus sleep? Because he had total peace in the fact that he was safe. You know, the humanness of Jesus, who needs sleep, also has no control over the weather. But he knows his heavenly Father and he trusts that no matter what, all is okay. And then he demonstrates the God component in himself. Because he is God, he is the Son of God, and he calmed the storm. The human Jesus could sleep because God can calm the storm, and he knows his Father. He knows him. You know, we as humans control way less than we like to acknowledge. You know, I can't control other people's actions, their thoughts, their decisions. You know, the air I breathe, I have nothing to do with creating it. Every primary source in all that I use and take for granted, I have nothing to do with its existence. We only breathe and stand on this earth due to the Creator sustaining it all. And I encounter Jesus when I stop and I notice. And I give space and I give quiet to recognize him in this world. And I listen to the prompts in my heart, the quiet thoughts, the pictures he may give you in your mind. Take time to look for God, listen for his Spirit, feel his presence. You know, Jeremiah in the Old Testament, he said, I can't possibly do what you're asking of me, God. I just can't do it. I am too young. And you know what God said? Or what he didn't say? He didn't say, Jeremiah, yes, you can do it. Jeremiah, you're smarter than you think. Jeremiah, you're amazing. You're gifted. He didn't say those things. God reminded Jeremiah of who he is, who God is. And he told him, I send you. I command you. I am with you. I rescue you. I have put my words in your mouth. I appoint you. We need God. And we need to know that we need him. Disney, life is changing. You need God. Brow Baptist Church, you need God. And we need to know that we need him. I encourage you to encounter Jesus in the desert, in solitude, and receive like Jesus did. Receive the life force sustenance of God's Spirit in you. Be brave and courageous and take a chance that he is speaking to you. Over time, you will learn his voice. But we need to start, we need to listen, we need to feel. Partner with him with what he's doing on this earth. Restoring it. Rescuing it, healing it, his work. For us and with us. You know, I share this message especially as Disney didn't want a long service all about him. He wanted to eat and fellowship together. So I know he agrees with me in this point that life isn't all about us. Life isn't about us as centre stage. It's Jesus. And we acknowledge that we're not all that powerful. Jesus is. And he has called Disney and Emily to Maitland. And it's actually been a real pleasure and delight to walk this path with them, to see the calling and God orchestrating this. How are you feeling about it, Christine? Many people have asked me. And honestly, I can say I am at peace. Until every announcement was, see Christine, see Christine, see Christine. I am at peace. You'll have to email or text me or something. If you talk to me, I won't remember. You know, seeing people intentionally seeking God of where He wants them to be and what He wants them to do is wonderful. And it is my heart's desire for each and every one of you here to seek God where He would have you. Because God leads, God prompts. And you know, even when we don't listen, He has ways to draw us back unto Him in His timing. You know, I met Disney briefly in 2012 before we went travelling. And he was a little awkward. I remember. And he was young, and he was new. And we got back 2 years later, and he was less awkward now. He was still young. That's written here. But he was now married. But to get a serious conversation out of him at that time was, well, I'm not sure I managed it back then. But here we are in 2022. He's older now. So Disney, Tom, now he's older, Tom. It's a privilege to have walked these last few years with you as colleagues and as friends. And I want to congratulate you. You are now the Reverend Tom Walton. It is a big achievement. It is a long journey of accreditation. And you've done it. And we now have many, I'm not even sure what the word is, serious, mature, sensible conversations. And yet they are always mixed with a laugh. I do think the staff room next door to us, the office next door to our office, will be pleased that things will be a little bit quieter. Can you believe just the three of us can be that noisy? But we can. 80% Diz. Occasionally I get a bit excited and start talking very loud, but it's been a pleasure to work with you. And I am going to miss you. Brow Baptist is going to miss you. And there is a peace knowing that you are following where God is leading you to Maitland Baptist. I'm really going to miss our conversations, all the books that we read, and theology, and it's a real trust in relationship to be able to deeply share thoughts and ideas when you're really digging deep into different theology things. And it's been a privilege to do that with you. And I thank you for the trusting relationship that we've had. And Emily. There she is. She's so much quieter than Diz. You know, I actually remember you. I remember you in the very early years of when your brother was born. So, David. I actually pregnant. I remember David in your mother's tummy. So how old were you then? 6. Very cute. So in a way, this is a bigger move for you. And it has been such a blessing to have you grow up in this church. Were you born here? When you were 2. So you've really grown up in this church. And it's been such a blessing for Brower Baptist. This is where you met your husband. Or was where you met your wife, Diz. You ran youth group together, lived in the church cottage, started your family. 3 kids later, it's now time to leave this nest. Don't start crying. But we know, Emily, this is good. And we know it's new beginnings and new homes and friendships and community. And we bless you and your family. And we are excited for you guys. This is good. And I want to leave you both with this verse from Paul to the church in Thessalonians. It says, I urge you, brothers and sisters, to make it your ambition to lead a quiet life. This is for you, Diz. For Emily. This is not a dull life. This is not a boring life. It's quiet in the richness of being able to hear the Spirit of God. To notice what He is doing. To notice what He's doing around you and what He's asking of you to do. And notice what He's not asking of you to do and leave that for Him. So bless you both.